So now it's time to start adding some objects to our view. For this, I want you to select the document outline, which is the menu on the left in your main.storyboard that allows you to select the different views that appear in your storyboard. Now, with view selected, I want you to hit the key binding Command Shift L. This is going to bring up what's called your object library that allows you to put view objects onto your screen. Now, if what you're seeing here is instead a menu called snippets, that's a different menu that you can use to add pre-formatted template code to your application. And that's what's going to appear if you have nothing selected in your editor or if you're in a code file in your editor. That's why it's important for us to select something from our view hierarchy on the main.storyboard so that we can get this object library. Now you can see we have several different view objects available here. A label, for example, that allows us to add text to our screen, a button that allows us to add a clickable item to our screen, a segmented control that we might use for paging, a text field that we might use to allow somebody to enter text into an app. We're going to choose switch for now. So I want you to click on switch and drag it onto your main.storyboard. I want you to center it on the screen, which you can do with these blue dotted lines that appear to tell you that you have centered the object on this iPhone. Then let go. So now we've added a switch to our screen. Now you're going to notice something about the switch being added to the screen. It's in the middle on the iPhone 11 in portrait mode, but if you look down at our previews, it doesn't appear at all on the landscape mode screen. It appears toward the upper left-hand corner on our iPad screen, and it appears toward the lower right-hand corner of our smaller phone screen. The reason for this is that by default, iOS puts all of your objects the exact same number of points or pixels down from the top and to the right of the left edge as you put it on your main.storyboard. Now, it just so happens that that exact number of pixels down and over doesn't get you as far on a big screen like an iPad as it does on a little screen like a phone. And on an even smaller screen, it puts you down and to the right because there are fewer points of height and width on this small phone screen. It doesn't even appear on the landscape screen because the number of points down from the top that it appears on your iPhone 11 in portrait mode is already higher than the height. It's larger than the height of your phone in landscape mode. So that light switch is appearing like down here somewhere on your app in landscape mode. In order to make our view adjust to different screen sizes and orientations, we need to use something in iOS called constraints. So let me introduce you to some constraints. In the lower right-hand corner of your main.storyboard, you'll see some menus right here. On the far right, it says embed in. It's a rectangle with a down arrow. Then to the right of that, let me select my view here so that you can see this. Then to the right of that, we have the option to update stuff in our view. You're not going to be using either of these yet. Instead, I want you to click on the square with the whiskers, which says add new constraints. This is one place where we can add constraints. So you can click on this box, which represents the view, and it's going to allow you to pin your view to different sides of the larger screen. You can also set constraints on things like the height, the width. Let me select my light switch here so that you can see this a little better. You can also set constraints on things like the height or the width, or you can say you want things to have a certain aspect ratio that's useful for images. Now, what you see right now is this box with some numbers around it. On the top, you see 389, and on the left, you see 183. Currently, our light switch is positioned exactly 389 points down from the top and exactly 183 points to the right of the left edge of the screen. Those are the numbers that are being used on our other previews right here. But that's not what we want. We want our light switch to be centered on any screen size and orientation. So in order to make that happen, I'm going to select the light switch and I'm going to click on this little icon that looks like a bar chart. It says add new alignment constraints in a pop-up. Now, we see some options down towards the bottom here with checkboxes. We're going to check those boxes. We're going to center this horizontally in its container, and we're also going to center this vertically in its container. Now I need to click on the button that says Add to Constraints. You'll see that some lines got added here to our main.storyboard. And now you'll notice that on the previews, the light switch appears in the center of every view because it now knows that it is expected to be centered horizontally and vertically on all screens. Before we move on, let's go ahead and run our application so that we can see what it looks like on a device. In the upper left-hand corner of Xcode, I'm going to click on this play button with the triangle. That's going to boot up my simulator, which is a program that comes with Xcode and allows us to run iOS software on a simulated device on our computer. It'll take it a second to boot up usually. There we go. And now we see our light switch appears. It doesn't do anything, but we can interact with it.